40,000 years ago, the world turned against humanity. Temperatures crashed. Forests vanished. Animals migrated away. Entire tribes woke up one winter and realized food was disappearing faster than they could find it. Some tribes hunted harder. Some prayed harder. Some simply hoped spring would arrive. But one tribe did something strange. While everyone else consumed everything they had, this tribe secretly stored extra food, tools, and fuel. Their neighbors laughed. Why save food when we can eat it today? Then the worst winter in centuries arrived. And when the snow finally melted, one tribe was still alive. The other had vanished forever. Today, the exact same mistake destroys modern families. Not with snow and ice, but with layoffs, recessions, inflation, and emergencies. Because the difference between surviving and disappearing has never been intelligence. It's preparation. And the lesson that saved a tribe during the Ice Age might be the most important financial lesson you'll ever learn.
Chapter 1. The World of the Ice Age. Imagine waking up every morning without a grocery store. No refrigerator, no paycheck, no bank account, no government assistance, no emergency services. For Ice Age humans, survival depended entirely on what they could gather, hunt, and protect. If a hunting trip failed, there was no backup plan. If winter lasted longer than expected, nobody came to help. Every meal was uncertain. Every season was a gamble. Most tribes lived exactly like many people do today. Whatever arrived today was consumed today. A successful hunt? Celebrate. A large harvest? Feast. Extra supplies? Use them immediately. The future felt far away. And when life seems good, preparation feels unnecessary. After all, why worry about tomorrow when today feels secure? The problem is that nature doesn't care how secure you feel. Nature changes, suddenly. One bad season, one drought, one migration shift, one brutal winter, and everything changes. The tribes that consumed everything during good times enjoyed life more in the moment, but they were unknowingly creating a dangerous vulnerability. They had no margin for error, no buffer, no reserves, no protection against uncertainty. And uncertainty always arrives. The same thing happens today. When income increases, spending increases. When bonuses arrive, expenses expand. When life improves, lifestyles inflate. Many people unknowingly build lives that require every dollar they earn. Everything looks fine until something unexpected happens. And eventually, something always does. Chapter 2. The Tribe That Thought Differently. Among the many tribes scattered across the frozen landscape, some groups developed an unusual habit. Instead of consuming every resource immediately, they began storing a portion. Not because they were richer, not because they were stronger, because they understood one simple truth: the future is unpredictable. Whenever hunting was successful, they preserved extra meat. Whenever resources were abundant, they stored tools and fuel. Whenever times were good, they prepared for bad times. This behavior came with a cost. While neighboring tribes enjoyed larger feasts, these savers appeared less prosperous. Others looked wealthier. Others looked happier. Others seemed to be enjoying life more. The savers looked cautious, sometimes even paranoid. Imagine being one of them. You watch another tribe eating everything they catch. They're celebrating, laughing, living comfortably. Meanwhile, you're storing food in cold caves, protecting supplies, thinking about future risks. To outsiders, your behavior appears foolish. But preparation almost always looks foolish before the crisis arrives. Nobody praises emergency supplies during sunny weather. Nobody admires life jackets on calm oceans. Nobody values insurance before disaster strikes. And nobody appreciates savings until they need them. The tribe wasn't sacrificing happiness. They were purchasing survival. Every extra piece of stored food represented future security. Every preserved resource reduced future risk. Every reserve increased resilience. Without realizing it, they had created humanity's...
Chapter 3. The Winter That Changed Everything. Then came the winter. Not an ordinary winter. A catastrophic one. Temperatures plunged. Animals disappeared. Food became scarce. Travel became dangerous. Weeks became months. Months became seasons. Suddenly, tribes that had lived comfortably were facing impossible decisions. Food reserves were gone. Hunting opportunities vanished.
Resources disappeared. Every day became harder than the last. Panic spread quickly, because panic always spreads when preparation is absent. People who had never worried about shortages now worried constantly. Every meal became uncertain. Every morning brought new fear, and fear changes behavior. Desperate tribes made desperate decisions. They traveled farther, took greater risks, consumed whatever remained.
But desperation is rarely a good strategy. Meanwhile, the prepared tribe faced the same winter, the same storms, the same frozen landscape, the same challenges. But their experience was completely different. Why? Because they had options. While others were reacting, they were executing a plan. While others were panicking, they were relying on reserves. While others were desperate, they had breathing room. The winter was still difficult, but difficulty and disaster are not the same thing. Preparation transformed catastrophe into inconvenience, and that difference changed everything. Today, we call that concept an emergency fund. Money that exists for one purpose: buying time when life becomes difficult. Because emergencies rarely destroy people overnight. They destroy people gradually as options disappear. Savings preserve options, and options preserve survival.
Chapter 4: The Modern Ice Age. Most people imagine recessions as economic events, but psychologically, recessions are modern winters. Think about it. During good times, jobs are plentiful, money flows, opportunities seem endless, confidence rises. Then, suddenly, things change. Companies downsize, markets fall, businesses close, costs rise, and millions of people discover whether they prepared during the good years. The pattern is almost identical to the Ice Age. Some households spend everything they earn. Every paycheck immediately disappears. New cars, bigger houses, subscription services, lifestyle upgrades. Everything seems fine until income stops. Then panic arrives. Not because the emergency was huge, because there was no buffer, no reserves, no emergency fund, no stored resources. Others approach money differently. They understand that prosperity is temporary. Good times don't last forever. So while life is stable, they quietly build reserves. 3 months, 6 months, maybe even 12 months of expenses. Not because they're pessimistic, because they're realistic. The future is uncertain, and uncertainty rewards preparation. When layoffs happen, these people aren't immune, but they're not immediately trapped. They have time. Time to think, time to plan, time to find opportunities, time to avoid desperate decisions. And time is often the most valuable financial asset of all. Emergency savings don't make headlines. They aren't exciting. Nobody posts screenshots of emergency funds on social media. But when economic winters arrive, emergency funds become financial superpowers. Chapter 5: Why most people fail to prepare. If emergency funds are so important, why do so few people build them? Because human psychology hasn't changed much since the Ice Age. Our brains are wired for immediate rewards, not distant risks. A feast today feels real. A future winter feels imaginary. A new purchase feels exciting. Emergency savings feel boring. The problem is that future risks eventually become present realities, and by then, it's too late to prepare. This is called normalcy bias, the belief that because things have been good recently, they will continue being good. Ice Age tribes experienced it, modern investors experience it, families experience it, businesses experience it, everyone experiences it. During economic booms, people assume booms will continue. During stock market rallies, people assume markets will keep rising. During stable employment, people assume jobs are secure. But history tells a different story. Every boom eventually cools. Every expansion eventually slows. Every cycle eventually turns. Prepared people don't predict exactly when. They simply acknowledge that it will happen eventually. And that mindset changes everything. Instead of asking, "What can I spend today?" they ask, "What should I protect for tomorrow?" That single question separates consumers from planners, short-term thinkers from long-term survivors. Chapter 6: The Ice Age Investor. Imagine standing beside that tribe 40,000 years ago. Winter is approaching. Food is plentiful. The future looks bright. Nobody knows a disaster is coming. What would you do? Would you consume everything? Or would you save some for uncertainty? Most people think investing is about predicting the future. The Ice Age tribe teaches a different lesson. Real financial success isn't prediction, it's preparation. You don't build an emergency fund because you know a crisis is coming. You build it because crises eventually arrive. You don't hold cash because you're afraid. You hold cash because flexibility creates strength. You don't prepare because disaster is guaranteed. You prepare because uncertainty is guaranteed. The tribe that survived the Ice Age wasn't the smartest,
Wasn't the strongest, wasn't the luckiest. They simply respected uncertainty, and uncertainty rewarded them. Today, your emergency fund is your stored food. Your cash reserves are your preserved resources. Your financial plan is your survival strategy. And the next recession, layoff, medical bill, or unexpected expense is simply another winter. When that winter arrives, two groups will emerge: those who must panic and those who are prepared. Because wealth isn't measured only by how much money you make. It's measured by how long you can survive when money stops arriving. The tribe learned this lesson through ice and snow. You can learn it through history. And if you do, you'll discover the greatest financial advantage isn't earning more. It's being ready when everyone else isn't.
One tribe prepared, one tribe consumed, one survived, one disappeared. 40,000 years later, the lesson remains exactly the same. The people who survive financial winters are usually the people who prepared during financial summers. And that is why the greatest investment may not be the stock you buy, but the cash reserve that keeps you alive long enough to stay in the game.